horse people, Kerstin here. This time was retrain a Polo pony. We have a new project horse here. This is Frankie. Frankie is 15 years old. Obviously some kind of a Gypsy Cob mix. There must be something else in his pedigree because he knows how to pace. So because when you see this horse here, I try to get him in the full perspective. He has something like what you would call a top line syndrome. You might see that the horse is pretty long in the back, and the croup is actually a bit higher than the wither. The wither is poking out of the spine. There is no muscle whatsoever. And you also see that the front feet are actually not vertically under the wither, but they're standing a little bit back. That means the entire horse is trying to compensate a lack of carrying power by leaning on the front feet, so pushing the front feet under the mass and trying to avoid shifting the weight equally on all four feet. So this is man-made, I would say. This horse has been a karrozin horse first and then a Polo pony, and for the last 2 years I think he was just being hacked out but not really ridden properly. I think it's a posture he learned to when he was pulling the karrozin, because when you see here, and I go a bit closer, you see he has a massive underneck muscle, this tightened underneck muscle here. It is actually curved in this line. We actually want it the other way around. So we want to see this line here curved downwards. Yeah? So we see a clear dip here in front of the wither, a poking out wither, no muscle whatsoever, a hole here. And when you go along the back, there is actually not much back muscle whatsoever. When I press a bit here, he seems to be a bit tense, but he already released within the last few days. And here, even though he has actually a nicely built croup for a carriage horse, when you look from the back, it's actually a nice big butt. However, up here there's not much muscle. Yeah, it's like a hole again. So the other thing we have to cope with is his very steep angled hind feet. He is wearing those driving shoes with a rubber. Actually, they were put on to just like a sneaker, so to make it easier for the horse to move, in the belief that the rubber would help absorbing, work like a shock absorber actually. However, the rubber makes the hoof angle so steep that he is rather running on a high heel, and that high heel is not even stable. The rubber actually is moving with every stride, so there is no clear sensory input for the horse to process in his brain when he steps with that foot. And in fact, when I lunge him the right rein, he would pretty much ask for a pace instead of a trot. I believe it's because he cannot really bend the big joints of his hind feet, or it's easier for him to take the legs straight forward without bending the big joints of the hind feet. So at 15 he most probably has some little arthritis here and there, but we try to work around all these little issues. He is a super sweet boy, so super willing. Actually, he came here for behavioral issues because he can be a bit pushy, they told me. I did not experience that yet. Maybe because he respects me because I'm German. But when I look into his face, I can imagine that he can be a bit cheeky. You see this massive nose bone here? So you can believe it or not, but the native Indians, the Native Americans say that those horses with a strong nose bone are the ones who like to check out their owners. But he has only one whirl here, pretty far up, that are actually the ones which are not nasty at all. The whirl is far up, yeah, not here but here, which stands for alert horse who is interested in its environment and rather tends to take the head up and look around. So he has a cheeky white in his eye, but I think it's not what you think. I think it's just because he has so much white in his face that the eye also shows a little bit white. But he has a very friendly eye actually, so he's far from being frantic in any way. So this is Frankie. So we try to document a little bit his progression here. I hope he can stay long enough that we can really build his muscle. First he has to learn mentally what it means to be in a new posture, and then of course he has to build up the muscles to keep this posture. That will take at least 12 weeks or so. So I hope he can stay that long here, because otherwise it's a little bit, yeah, it would be a drip of water on the hot stone when I start working with him. What I can start to do anyways is when I have to get him in that position that he's arching the neck, yeah, and not just making it hollow. And the easiest way to do that is simply giving him a treat, but not just somehow. I give him the treat in the ramené position. So I want him to put the nose in the vertical and maybe a little bit further up. Sorry. I hope I can get it here. You get my point, yeah? I want the nose in the vertical, and I want him to raise his paw, and then he gets the treat. And when he's doing so, next time I need a camera woman to show you, when he's doing that, when he's arching his neck in this position, he automatically will lift the rib cage between the shoulder blades and shift the weight a little bit more on the haunch. This is what we have to work at. He needs to learn how to get the front feet straight and push the weight further on the hind feet. And the hind feet must be trained in a way that they can work as a shock absorber. We have to get them more flexible, that he can bend them underneath his body just like a shock absorber to stabilize the spine. And once he's doing that, you will see that the dip behind the wither will get much better already. Yeah? So there is a whole, probably because of a malfitting saddle also, but I think the most important thing is that first of all he learns to balance his weight more equally on all 4 feet. So he is annoyed by the flies and I'm talking too much, so we stop it here and I see you next time.